All right then. So now what we are going to do is we are going to move on to the next animation, which is going to be the blink grid animation. So in order to do that, let's create a new folder and I'm going to name this as blink grid animation. And inside here, I'm going to create a new file called index.html and I'm going to create a new file called styles.css, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure this to be loaded. So let's close this one. Okay, let me close everything. Close. Okay, so inside here, I'm going to create a new open, not necessary. So let me bring the boilerplate code and change this as blink grid animation, and let me link the style sheet dot slash styles.css h1 tag, name this as blink grid animation. So save these changes and let's check it out. So I need to load this one. So all I have to do is to stop this. Let me close this and keep this URL live. And now you should be able to see this blink grid animation folder. Click this blink grid and you should be able to see this name over here, right? So the necessary things that we need to install for this specific project, again, it's going to be, let's go to the extension and search for Google Fonts. Please make sure that you have installed this Google Fonts. If you haven't, please go ahead and install it. Then I need to bring the live server. So make sure that you also install this live server as well as. So click this live server and please download it. Then I'm gonna install one more, which is called Prettier, in order to align my code in a clean and maintainable way. So these are the extensions that I need to download and install. So then I'm going to target this styles.css. Let me click the styles.css and let me open it, and I'm going to bring the Google Fonts first. So I'm going to search for Google Fonts, insert CSS at import, and I'm going to install this Poppins font. All right, then I'm going to make sure I'm going to remove all the elements, margins, paddings, and I'm going to align them using the layout as a border box. So I'm going to say margin as a 0, and I'm going to remove the padding as 0. Then the box sizing, which is going to be the border box. So this specific layout helps us to specify the behavior of the width and height properties in all these specific browsers, right? So that's the reason we have to set either border box or content box. In this case, we are going to choose the layout as a border box. Then I'm gonna define the root variables, or the variables which I'm going to use in this particular animation, right? So let's create the root variables. The reason why we are creating the root variables, it's because later in future, if you wish to change the color or a size or whatever that we are planning to do with this will reflect instantly. So you don't have to change the layer by layer sizes and colors. So just change it in one place. It is going to reflect in your entire code. So I'm going to define the color, which is going to be hash A5 A5B0. That's the color that we are trying to create. Then I'm going to define the size, which is going to be the 70 pixels, right? That's the thing. Then all I have to do is to target the body tag. I'm going to make sure it's going to access the 100% viewport width. So the reason we are using the VW, it is called viewport width. Whatever the screen it's been loading, we need to access the width and the height of that screen so we can create a responsive design. So this can be accessible because of this meta tag, because if you don't mention this meta tag in your HTML code, then you can't access that viewport width. Then I'm gonna say height 100 VH, display everything in a flux. By default, everything will be arranged from top to bottom order. So we are changing it into flex box because flex box gives us the flexibility to arrange it. So once you give it as a flex, it is going to arrange everything in a row direction. I need to change again to the column direction. So flex direction is going to be column. Then align every items in the center and justify every items in the center. Right now in a blink of eye, so you can see everything is in the center position. Then I'm going to change the font family which is going to be the Poppins. That's a font which we bring it. So either copy this name or type it without any spelling mistakes. Then I'm going to load the sans serif. So save this. Now you can see that the font name is successfully changed. Next, what I need to do is I need to get into the index.html and I need to load the necessary wireframe that I need. Okay, so inside here, I'm gonna bring the loader, and inside this loader, I'm gonna bring 6 different span tags. So create a span tag. So I need to create a span tag 6 times. So multiply it 6 times. So you can generate 6 different span tags. This is called Zen coding, which we used in the Visual Studio Code to create the HTML code much faster. So that is going to bring you 6 different span tags. Okay, so you can see span tag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the 6. These are the 6 different span tags that we wish to create. Then now let's get into the CSS. So here what we have to do is I'm going to target the loader first. Loader. So please make sure this name and the CSS name of this division both are same. So dot loader, I'm going to access the width. So width, which is going to be variable length of the size. So please make sure that you're using the proper variable, and the height, of course, which is going to be the variable of size. Then, and display, of course, it is going to be a grid. So we are going to use the grid, and this grid template columns, how many columns that we are going to create in a single row. So I'm going to repeat 3 different columns with 1 frames for each, right? So then I'm going to gap between the each frames should be 5 pixels. Not more than that. So save it. So currently you can't see anything, but if I get into the inspect elements and if I click into the body tag and get into the loader division, and here you can see if I click the loader, you can see we have 3 different boxes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? We do have 3 different boxes in a single row, and in the second row we have 3 different boxes because we do have 6 different span tags in it. That's the reason it is being breaked into like that, right? So next I'm going to target the span tag. So loader, inside the loader I do have the span tag. So I'm going to make sure that span tag is accessing the 100% width available inside the grid and height. Okay, now I need to make sure it is going to use the background color. So background color, it's going to be variable of the color which we have defined. So you should be able to see the grids now very clearly. Then I'm gonna adjust the border radius as 4 pixels or something. So it is not going to have very short edges. Let's adjust to 2 pixels. Yep, that would be more appropriate. Then I'm gonna bring the box shadow, which is going to be 2 pixels, 2 pixels, 10 pixels, RGBA, 000 and 1. Now you should be able to see a very dark black color. So if I make this as a 0 pixels, you can see it is in the exactly from top to bottom. You can see the black color area. It's been moved from the top to bottom. And if I don't adjust this color, the blur percentage, see how it is looking now. This is how it looks. So if I adjust the blur, the blur effect of that color, you can see how it is looking now. So now I need to adjust the percentage level of that color. So I don't need the 100%. I need 0.9. That's too low. So let me make it 1%. I think that would be more appropriate. 1%, a mild materialistic shadow effect. Okay, so let's keep it in that way. Then I'm going to create the animation. So animation. So for the animation, you need to supply the name and the duration and the timing function, how it is going to perform, and the delay effect and the iterations, how long you need to do that iterations. So first let's use the animation itself. The name which we are going to create for this animation is called blink. So that's the animation that we are going to give a name. So that is called blink, and it is going to perform the animations with 0.6 seconds. and we are going to use the alternate property, and infinite time it's need to perform the animations, and it should be performed in a linear actions. Save it. Nothing is going to happen because we haven't created that animation yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform the animations, create the keyframes. So at keyframes, which is going to be use the same animation name which you have created, blink. So the 0%, the opacity level, which is going to be 0.3, which in case it's a 30%. Then transform scale 0.5 and rotate 5 degree. So now if I save this, you can see this is how it looks, right? Then on 50%, I'm gonna say opacity, it's going to be 100%, which means 1, and transform the scale level into 1. Now we can see it has been looking like that. Now what I need to do is each and every span tag needs to have some delay effect. The animation should be delayed a little bit. So I'm going to target these span tags inside the loader division one by one separately. So let's target the loader and the span tags. So I'm going to target it by using the nth child function. So we're going to target the very first child in it, and the animation delay, we're going to say animation delay, use this animation delay property and mention it in the milliseconds, which is going to be 0 milliseconds. For the first child, there should not be any delay. So then let's go ahead and target the second child. So inside the loader, we do have the span tag with the nth child. I'm going to access the second child, and I'm going to say the animation delay for that, which is going to be 200 milliseconds. Okay, now we can see there is a delay on the second child. So let's target the loader span tag with the nth child of the third style, which is going to have the animation delay effect of 300 milliseconds. And now we should be able to see we have 300 milliseconds delay effects over there. Okay, then let's go ahead, the dot loader span tag, the nth child for the fourth one. So the animation delay effect, which is going to be 400 milliseconds. Now you should see there is a slight difference in there, and let's go ahead and target the dot loader span tag nth child property, fifth one. So animation delay, which is going to be 500 milliseconds. Then dot loader span tag nth child, sixth one, animation delay effect 600 milliseconds. Save it, and now you should see we have an awesome animation over here. So we successfully finished this blink grid animations, and it is working smoothly, so we don't have to worry about it. So if you just customize this shapes, which is looks quite different, right? And we can do it like in a one more way. What we can do is you can just keep this, for instance, like we can, instead of keeping it in this shape, you can keep it in a round shape and just keep a single row, and you can make it even more like a perfect loading animation, not in a square shape. If it is in a circle shape, it looks quite different, right? So we can do that also. So the same animation can be performed in that way as well as, right?